For 3 weeks, 5-year-old Ethan had been acting strangely, whispering phone calls, secret drawings, and mysterious trips to his piggy bank. His parents thought he was just being a typical kid, but what they discovered on Grandpa Frank's forgotten 85th birthday revealed the most heartwarming secret a child had ever kept. But the true magnitude of this little secret hadn't even been revealed yet. On a cold March morning, the Johnson house in Maplewood was bustling as usual. Mom Jessica was getting ready for work. Dad Mike was hurriedly eating breakfast, and 12-year-old sister Sophie was preparing her school bag. And in the middle of it all, 5-year-old Ethan was quietly eating his cereal. But Ethan's mind was elsewhere. His little fingers were secretly counting the days. 3 weeks left. 3 weeks until Grandpa Frank's 85th birthday. Ethan had been waiting for this special day for months. Because Grandpa Frank was his favorite person. Every Sunday they would visit him. Frank would tell him stories, play games together, and make him feel like he was the world's best grandchild. But lately, Mom and Dad had been very busy. Work stress, bills, household chores. Everyone was chasing after something. And Ethan carried a big worry. What if everyone forgot his grandfather's birthday? This thought scared him so much that he made an important decision that morning. After school, Ethan ran straight to his room. He pulled out the notebook he had hidden under his bed. This wasn't just any notebook. This was his grandpa operation plan. On the first page of the notebook, written in red crayon, it said, Grandpa's birthday plan. Below there were things drawn by his 5-year-old hand. Cake, a circle-shaped drawing. Balloons, colored circles. Present, square box. Music notes. Surprise, big exclamation mark. But most importantly, at the end of the notebook was this note written in his small handwriting. If everyone forgets, Ethan remembers. That night before bed, he counted his piggy bank. $23.47. Was this a lot of money? Would it be enough? He didn't know, but he would try. Because Grandpa Frank's smile was the most precious thing in the world. The next day at school, Ethan approached his teacher, Mrs. Anderson. Mrs. Anderson, can I tell you a secret? His teacher smiled. Of course, Ethan. What is it? My grandpa has a birthday coming up. I want to make a very special party. But I need grown-ups' help. Mrs. Anderson was touched by Ethan's sincerity. That's a wonderful idea. What can I do? Do you know how to make cake? Yes, I do. Can you teach me? But don't tell anyone. It's secret. Mrs. Anderson felt her heart melt at this little boy's determination. Of course I can teach you, but you need to do it with a grown-up at home. Ethan thought. Mom and Dad were too busy, but neighbor Mrs. Thompson was always home and very kind. I'll ask Mrs. Thompson. That day after school, Ethan went straight to his neighbors. Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Thompson, Ethan called out, ringing the doorbell. 68-year-old Mrs. Thompson opened the door to see Ethan's excited face. Ethan, what's wrong, sweetheart? Did something happen? No, but I have something very important to do. Can I tell you a secret? Mrs. Thompson invited him in. Of course, sit down. Ethan explained his plan. His grandfather's birthday, the fear of everyone forgetting, the secret party plan, and I need to learn how to make cake. Mrs. Anderson said she could teach me, but I need to do it with a grown-up at home. Mrs. Thompson's eyes watered. This little child's love and determination touched her deeply. Ethan, this is a wonderful plan. I'd love to help, but shouldn't we tell your family? No, this is a surprise. They're too busy, so this way Grandpa will be happy. Mrs. Thompson thought. This child was right. She hadn't seen Frank much lately. Maybe everyone really was forgetting about him. Okay, Ethan, this will be our secret project. And so, the most unexpected alliance was formed. In the following days, Ethan's secret operation was in full swing. Every day after school, he went to Mrs. Thompson's house, learning to bake cake, collecting decoration ideas. Mrs. Thompson, does Grandpa like vanilla cake? Yes, sweetheart. Vanilla is his favorite. And what should we write on top? How about Happy Birthday, Grandpa Frank? Ethan thought. No, it should be something more special. What if we write Best Grandpa Frank? Mrs. Thompson smiled. That would be wonderful. But the cake was only part of the plan. Ethan had bigger things in mind. Balloons, music, decorations, and, most importantly, being able to bring everyone together. Mrs. Thompson, How can I find the phone numbers of Grandpa's old friends? That might be a bit difficult, but let's see what we can do. That evening, Mrs. Thompson searched through Frank's old address book. Maybe they could reach some of his old friends. Meanwhile, life in the Johnson house continued as usual. Mom Jessica had a big project presentation. Dad Mike was trying to win a new client, and Sophie was busy with school dramas. And none of them were looking at the calendar. One evening at dinner, Ethan courageously asked, "Is there a special day this week?" "What do you mean, sweetheart?" asked his mother, looking at emails on her phone. "Well, something you need to remember." His father thought. "Oh yes, I have a client meeting on Saturday. Very important." Ethan's heart sank. "Nothing else?" Sophie shrugged. "I don't remember anything." That night, Ethan went to bed crying. Only 2 weeks left, and nobody remembered. But he wouldn't give up, because his grandfather's happiness was more important than anything. The next day at school, Ethan told his best friend, 6-year-old Mia, his secret. "Mia, I'm going to tell you something very secret. Promise you won't tell anyone." "I promise." Ethan explained his plan. Mia listened with wide eyes. "Wow, this is so cool. Can I help too?" "Really?" "Yes. My mom arranges beautiful flowers. I can ask her." That day, Mia explained the situation to her mother, Mrs. Rodriguez. Mrs. Rodriguez was also very touched by Ethan's plan. "Of course we'll help, sweetheart. Uncle Frank is a very good man. Let's give him a beautiful surprise." Now Ethan's team was expanding. Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Rodriguez, his teacher, Mrs. Anderson, and his best friend, Mia. But the hardest part was yet to come. Mrs. Thompson had found a few numbers from Frank's old address book. But 5-year-old Ethan was too young to make phone calls. "Ethan, I'll call these numbers." "What do you want me to tell them?" Ethan thought seriously. "Tell them this. Grandpa Frank's grandson Ethan is making a special party for his birthday, and we love him very much." Mrs. Thompson's heart melted. "Okay, sweetheart, I'll say exactly that." The first number she called was Frank's old work colleague George. "Hello, George. This is Margaret Thompson, Frank Johnson's neighbor. I'm calling about something very special." When she explained the plan, George was very moved. "Really? His 5-year-old grandson is organizing it? This is incredible. Of course I'll come." The second number was his old military buddy Bill. He gave the same response. The third number was Frank's brother Robert, but that number no longer worked. "Don't be sad, Ethan," said Mrs. Thompson. "2 people is wonderful. Your grandpa will be so happy." Saturday morning, Ethan took all the money from his piggy bank and went shopping with Mrs. Thompson. "Mrs. Thompson, is $23 a lot of money?" "Ethan, it's not the amount of money that matters. It's the size of your love, and your love is very big." First, they went to the party supplies store. Colorful balloons, streamers, happy birthday banners. "Which color balloons should we get?" asked Mrs. Thompson. "Blue. Grandpa says blue is the most beautiful color." Then they went to the toy store to buy a small gift. Ethan thought for a long time. "Mrs. Thompson, Grandpa likes to read books. Let's get him a nice book." At the bookstore, Ethan chose a storybook with big letters and pictures. "This is nice. I can read it to him." Walking home, Ethan was very excited. "Mrs. Thompson, have you ever organized a party?" "Yes, sweetheart, but none was as special as yours." On that special March morning, Frank Johnson woke up in his quiet house, as usual. On the morning he turned 85, he wasn't expecting anyone to call. Making his coffee, he looked at the calendar. 85 years old. How quickly it passed, he murmured. The phone was silent. The door wasn't ringing. It was as if the world had forgotten his birthday. Around noon, he sat in his chair feeling slightly sad. Maybe Jessica was too busy. Maybe Mike had forgotten about his important meeting. Maybe an old man's birthday just wasn't important to anyone anymore. Meanwhile, a normal Saturday morning was happening in the Johnson house. Mom Jessica was doing laundry. Dad Mike was working in the garden. Sophie was talking to friends on the phone. And Ethan? He was already at Mrs. Thompson's house, making final preparations. Mrs. Thompson's kitchen had turned into a battlefield. Ethan was wearing an apron, helping with the cake preparation. "Am I cracking the eggs too slowly, Mrs. Thompson?" "No, sweetheart. You're doing perfectly. The cake will be beautiful." Mrs. Rodriguez came with flowers. "I prepared a beautiful bouquet. Uncle Frank will love it. Mia had also prepared small cards with her mother's help. Each one had, "Happy Birthday, Grandpa Frank," written in different colors. "Ethan, what time is it?" asked Mrs. Thompson. "It's 2 o'clock. The party starts at 3. But the hardest part remained, convincing his family. Ethan ran home. His mother was still busy with household chores. "Mom, I have something very important to tell you." "Just a minute, sweetheart. I'm hanging the laundry." "But Mom, today is Grandpa's birthday." Jessica dropped the laundry in her hands. "What? Today? Oh my God." At that moment, everyone realized what a huge oversight they had made. "Mike! Mike!" Jessica shouted. "Today is your father's birthday." Mike came running. "What? Which today? What date?" "His 85th birthday." "Oh my God, let's call him right now." Sophie also came and was shocked when she learned the situation. "How could we forget?" But Ethan spoke calmly. "Don't worry. I didn't forget." Everyone looked at Ethan. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" asked his mother. "I've been preparing for 3 weeks. I prepared a party for Grandpa at Mrs. Thompson's. It starts at 3 o'clock. The family's mouths fell open. "Ew. You prepared a party?" asked his father. "Yes. There's cake, balloons, music. Even his old friends, Uncle George and Uncle Bill, are coming." Jessica's eyes filled with tears. When she realized what her little son had done, she understood how big his heart was. "Ethan, you are an incredible child." At 3 o'clock, Frank's door rang. The old man, who was quietly watching television inside, wondered who could be coming and opened the door. In front of him was his little grandson Ethan, holding a bouquet of flowers. "Happy birthday, Grandpa Frank." Frank bent down in amazement. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" "I came to celebrate your birthday." "Surprise." At that moment, Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Rodriguez, Mia, and even George and Bill appeared. Everyone had gifts or party supplies in their hands. Frank's eyes filled with tears. How is this possible?" Ethan proudly explained. "I've been preparing for 3 weeks. Everyone forgot, but I didn't forget." Mrs. Thompson's house turned into a party atmosphere within minutes. Colorful balloons, music, smiles. Frank sat in the middle looking around him. His old friends George and Bill had come. Neighbor ladies had prepared cakes. Little children were dancing around him. "Ethan," said Frank, taking his grandson in his lap, "this is the most beautiful party I've ever seen in my life." "Really, Grandpa?" "Really, because you prepared it, and your love is more valuable than anything." George approached Frank. "Frank, do you know how special this grandson of yours is? This child called me and invited me to the party. He's 5 years old." Bill also added with a smile, "I haven't seen such a heartfelt party in years." Just as the party was at its peak, the door rang. Jessica, Mike, and Sophie hurriedly entered, carrying gifts and faces full of apologies. "Dad, we're so sorry," said Jessica. "How could we forget?" Mike was also shaking his head. "We really messed up," but Frank smiled and hugged them. "It doesn't matter, because Ethan didn't let any of us forget." Sophie approached Ethan. "Little brother, you're a real hero." Ethan was glowing with happiness. His plan had worked perfectly. "Is Grandpa happy?" he asked. Frank hugged Ethan tightly. "This is the happiest day of my life, buddy." When it was time to blow out the candles, everyone gathered around Frank. The cake was perfect. It had "Best Grandpa Frank" written on it. "Come on, Grandpa. Make a wish and blow out the candles," said Ethan. Frank closed his eyes. What would he wish for? Everything he wanted was already here. As he blew out the candles, everyone applauded. But Ethan applauded the most. "Grandpa, what did you wish for?" Frank smiled. "I wish that you would always stay this loving." As the cake was being cut, everyone was talking about how thoughtful Ethan was. "This cake is delicious," said George. "Ethan and Mrs. Thompson made it together," said Ethan proudly. Mrs. Thompson stroked Ethan's hair. "This child is a real gem." At gift opening time, Frank said he wanted to open Ethan's gift last. "Let's open the others first, then the most special one." Family members gave gifts they had bought at the last minute. They were nice things, but hastily chosen. George and Bill had brought old photographs from our days serving in the military together. Mrs. Rodriguez had brought a beautiful flower arrangement. Mrs. Thompson had knitted a scarf. Finally, it was time for Ethan's gift. The small package was opened with great excitement. When Frank saw the storybook that came out, his eyes watered. "This is beautiful, Ethan. Grandpa, I'm going to read this book to you." Every evening, when the party ended and everyone went home, Frank and Ethan were left alone. The other family members had also gone home. "Grandpa, are you tired?" "No, Boothie. On the contrary, I feel very young." The two sat on the couch and began reading the book together. Ethan carefully pronounced each word while Frank listened patiently. "Ethan, how did you think of this most beautiful birthday?" "I don't know, Grandpa. I just love you and want you to be happy." Frank hugged his grandson tightly. "You are my greatest gift." That night, as Frank lay in his bed, he thought about his day. In the morning, he felt sad and forgotten. By evening, he felt like the most loved person in the world. And the reason was the big heart of a 5-year-old child. The next day, Jessica called Mrs. Thompson to thank her. "Margaret, I don't know how to thank you for your help last night." "Jessica, I should be thanking you. Ethan taught me a lot, too. That love has no age, that small hands can do big things." This story teaches us this. Sometimes the biggest surprises are created by the smallest hearts. Sometimes when adults get lost in their busyness, children remember what's really important. And sometimes a 5-year-old child's love can be the world's greatest gift. Because in the end, age is just a number. But love is timeless.